and welcome to a special edition of Neighbors and Friends. We're talking today about June as Gay Pride Month all over the country, and our guests are David DeGeest and Jewell Amos. And David's a member of the Iowa City Pride Committee, as well as Jewell. You're an officer, Jewell?
Yeah, I am the chair this year for Iowa City Pride.
And because the younger generation's got to take over, right?
Well, not that young, but yes.
Okay. A little younger than the previous chair. Okay, David, tell us a little about where you grew up and what brought you to Iowa City.
Well, I was actually born in Iowa and grew up in Kansas City with my mom, and then I actually went to my undergraduate experience here at Grinnell College in Iowa, and then I decided to do grad school at the University of Iowa to get my MBA and my PhD in organizational behavior and human resources. And I met some friends from college who were living here in Iowa City and introduced me to the Pride Committee, and that's how I got involved. And I've been really happy with the experience.
All right, thank you. And Jewell?
Born and raised in southeast Iowa. I lived only an hour away from Iowa City, so I grew up coming up to Iowa City and hanging out on weekends and stuff, and found it an opportunity in my life to go ahead and move up here, and so I did that, and I have friends that were on the committee and ended up just starting off being a committee member and then just gradually taking over, I guess.
Good, but you need people to work to get done. We need people to do the work. And so this, we're working up toward the Gay Pride Parade. What are some of the first event coming up now?
Well, we're always trying to get as many of the community organizations to be involved and do an event during June. The Pride Committee primarily focuses on setting up the parade and the festival on June 16th, the third Saturday of the month in June. And then we've also added a picnic in the park over at Upper City Park on the Friday evening before. And then we've worked on communicating with the local bars and other places, and they usually do a standard bar crawl for the young people on Monday. Actually, it's for anybody because it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
And they do a bar crawl on the Monday before, which would be June 11th. We just confirmed a fairly big lesbian group, Goddess and She. They will be playing on Wednesday at the Piano Lounge here on Gilbert Street at around 8 o'clock. Doors open like 7:30. It's a $12 to $15 price range for those tickets, and we're pretty excited that we have them coming.
It's a really big deal.
Yeah, it is really nice, and then so we've got like a full week of activities going on, and also throughout the entire month there are other activities going on, and the Queer Connections webpage has a calendar of events that says everything that is going on in June that we know of.
And that would be just www.queerconnections.org.
Yep.
Okay.
One of the things I think people don't think about with Pride is that they just think about there being a festival or just think about there being a parade. But one thing that is really maybe unique to this Pride Committee and unique to this organization is that we feel really strong ties to the community and to the other organizations that work to make Iowa City such a special and unique place. And so we try to do a lot of events throughout the course of the week leading up to the Pride Festival, as well as events throughout the year to both fundraise and to engage with the community.
And
have some fun.
And have fun.
And you'll have a rainbow run?
Yes, on May 19th, over at Lower City Park, Shelter 7 is where we start off. And one of our Pride Committee members, she organizes the whole thing, Christine Zimmerman. She ends up putting on a great walk run. It's 5K?
It's a 5K, yeah.
5K walk run, and it's all for fun. She usually gathers lots of free gifts from lots of community support from the businesses, and so it is a really good time, and it's of course all ages. Bring your pets, we don't care. We had last year, we had a guy in a wheelchair, you know, do the 5K, and we had people real young and super old doing it. So it's just it's a really fun day.
Couples pushing the kids in there.
Yep, we have carriages, we have people pushing buggies, and it usually gets around, 75 participants at least.
That's a good turnout.
Yeah, and it's a really good turnout. It's a fun thing to do on a Saturday morning. And, yeah.
So that will be Saturday, May 19th.
Yep, Saturday, May 19th. There's a link on the Career Connections webpage that has an application to pre-register, and I believe the cost is $20. There's a discount if you do more than one person, if you get in like a group and all apply at the same time. There's t-shirts and other little gifts that come with your entry fee. So
So you come home with a t-shirt for that $20.
yeah, you come home with a t-shirt and some other little goodies.
And the funds are to help support the posters and things you have to put
poster and basic costs that it takes several $1,000s to provide a festival in Iowa City with insurance and police escorts and things like that for the festival and for the parade.
And permits and providing free water and doing some of the other types of giveaways that we do for the different events. So
yeah,
I mean it does add up.
And there's a charge to reserve the spot in the park.
the Ped Mall, I believe, is free to reserve. Some of the other shelters in the parks that we reserve for, like the parade and then the fun run and also
The picnic.
the picnic, we have to reserve several shelters. So all those things end up being, they end up costing. So yeah.
That's a fundraiser.
Yeah, so the fundraisers.
And a fun gathering for people to meet.
Yeah.
So it's LGBT people and allies.
Exactly.
Have a number of allies every year.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Definitely, there are some very ardent allies who are very, very concerned about the rights and privileges of LGBT people. It's really great to be here.
And President Obama has spoken out to tell the public that he's had a number of friends and staff members, and he wants to see their families honored. And that's been a real mind-blowing occasion.
It's been a lot of special events in the past few days. There's been the whole thing with North Carolina and the unfortunate thing that happened in terms of marriage equality there, and then Obama's announcement. I really feel like I'm just like all over the board,
it's
up
a
and
roller
down,
coaster.
back and forth. It's just been woo.
Yeah.
I would kind of like to know, there have been a number of rapes in town and on campus, and it seems to me that heterosexuality ought to be condemned as a sin.
Well, I don't agree. My parents were heterosexual and they had me, so.
Same here.
So they're doing something right.
They're doing something right, exactly.
No, my point is that these anti-gay people who put these terrible, terrible laws to a vote, as you said, in North Carolina and other states, just because there was an attempt at gang rape at Lot's house in Sodom, they used that to condemn homosexuality. If it had happened, it would have been gang rape. Now, none of us here are suggesting gang rape is a good thing.
Right.
But what would have happened had nothing to do with one of those men in Sodom loving one of those angels visiting Lot. And I just cannot understand why different preachers and political activists can't understand that.
Well, you grew up with being told everything should be a certain way, and these are beliefs that you have been generations past and handed down, and getting people to change little by little. For the majority of people that we meet, we care whether the person's a good person or not. We don't really care what they do in their own bedroom. It's all about how they treat each other, and people are starting to realize that, okay, this really isn't a concern. People getting married, gay people getting married, has not affected the lives of straight people, other than if they are in the wedding industry and their profits have gone up. And if they're lawyers, sometimes their profits have gone up because of gay divorce now. So it really hasn't hurt anything by having the openness of in queer marriage, coming around.
So I'm sorry to inject that. It just so boggles my mind.
Some people are slower to change than others.
It's a hard thing to change. You get your mindset in a certain way, and you have to be compassionate towards people and give them opportunities to change their mind and give them opportunities to see things. I was having this conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and we were talking about coming out and what coming out means, and talking about why coming out is so important politically. And what I told him, and the thing we talked about, is that a lot of the people who are so adamant about gay people and about denying them rights, or about establishing marriage as it being between one man and one woman in a very traditional way, haven't had the experience of interacting with gay people and knowing that they're interacting with gay people who are in loving, committed relationships. They hear stories, they rely on other experiences they've had, but they don't actually think about the people that are involved. And when you start thinking about the people, and you start having the opportunity to meet people who you trust and you respect that are gay, then I think that really starts to change people's minds. And I think that that's why, even today in 2012, when more and more people feel comfortable about coming out, it's still a really big deal, and it can still have a really powerful effect on people's lives to come out.
It's really important. I also like to tell people who sing quite often at different churches and other serious events, saying America the Beautiful. And I delight in telling them that Catherine Lee Bates, who wrote that set of verses, was a lesbian woman in a long-time relationship. It's quite shocking to some people.
Yeah, there's a lot of popular songs that are kind of funny that the general population loves these songs, like "We Are the Champions," it's Queen, and just it's so funny because it's a lot of people don't associate the things together like that. "We Are the Champions" and "We Will Rock You" is from a group that lead singer was obviously not straight. But it didn't matter because once somebody is elevated to a status level, people will accept them a little bit better. And then every day when somebody else comes out and shows people, oh, hey, this person's a good person, and they happen to also be gay, that's everything that anybody who's open, I work in a factory, and so, it's actually very nice to be open at work, and the guys that I work with and the women that I work with, they know, and the friends that I've acquired at work and everything, most of these people are straight because most of our society is straight, and so these people will, if they like me and they're more comfortable being around me, and they know that they can talk to me about any issues about gay people, then they are comfortable, and they will teach their children that to be comfortable with it also. And it's not such a bad thing. And getting that process of, learning to just grow up with that idea of acceptance. It's like recycling, I mean, when I was little, recycling was not as big a deal, and that's when they did the 5 cents on the cans to encourage people to do it. Now 5 cents isn't really worth anything, but everybody's in the process and the mentality that they will take those cans back because it's the thing to do. It's not. It has nothing to do with the nickel quite as much anymore. It's all about doing what is good for society.
Yeah, setting up a habit, getting people used to that.
Yeah.
And I think that your point really illustrates it. It's getting people in the habit of seeing gay people be out and not overbearing about their orientation, but being frank and being able to discuss it comfortably.
Right. And it starts with being open with your family and your friends, because your family, I have many nieces and nephews, and all nieces and nephews need almost like one of those relatives that don't have other children, those aunts and the aunt or uncle that doesn't have children, because they spoil their nieces and nephews, and their nieces and nephews are like, yay, I've got a great aunt, she's got a girlfriend, but it doesn't matter, because she's really great, and anybody tries to talk smack about me or whatever, my nieces and nephews are going to stand up and say, hey, no. You're talking to somebody I love, and you're talking about them, and I'm not going to stand for that.
Yeah.
And it changes, they affect people in their lives. So, it's that, 1 degree of separation or 6 degrees of separation. It's every little bit helps, it spreads.
So back to the parade. That will gather up at College Green.
Yep.
It starts up at College Green. We come down Iowa Avenue and then across Dubuque and then back down and around, and we have to zigzag a little bit because of the Penn Mall and the farmers market. We try to avoid the congestion of that, and so. It's on our posters this year that will be around town, and also on the Queer Connections website. We have a map of the parade route, and so it will be there for people to know where to come line up and enjoy.
Okay.
We've also had our parade coordinator, Bridget Malone, has been working with several organizations to try to get more floats involved and try to get a little bit more of a showing at the parade. The parade's always had a decent amount of showing, but we want people to get a little bit more involved and make it just a little bit more fun and more colorful.
Well, yeah, we want a little more spectacle.
Yeah.
And you have the gentleman who always wears his red coat.
I'm unsure right now if Mark McCusker will be available or not. We've been working
on
with
that.
Yeah, we're working on contacting him, and seeing what kind of involvement we can get. He's a busy man. He has a lot of stuff under his belt, so we're working on it.
So I think the senior center is planning a contingent.
Yes, they are. And I believe there was, last rumor I heard was there was some limo talk, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to rent a limo or what and stand up in the sunroof and wave to everybody. I don't know.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
But, yeah, there'll be a lot of the local organizations and churches, and that will be.
Yes, there are a number of churches that are in the parade and also have tables on the Piedmont.
Yes.
Mhm.
This year being a political year, we'll probably have a few more political vendors at the table. We usually try to get a few, well, since we're down in the Piedmont, we don't really need to get too much food because people can eat at the restaurants downtown. We do have a couple other food vendors and that show up, and
La Reina, everybody loves La Reina. It's like, it's becoming a thing now. You just go and you go to the Pride Festival and go get your tacos from La Reina. They have a nice
yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
right there in the center.
yeah. Lorena has some really good stuff, and they usually show up and provide food, and Snow Biz with they're our traditional yummy shaved ice place, and so it's just we have to have them close to us, and
They really do.
yeah, and then there are several businesses around town that show their support, and it's a good way for local businesses to show that they are gay friendly, and it's also nice for people in the community to see these businesses and say, oh, hey, I need an insurance person, so here's one right here. Well, this is great, because I want to give my money to people that like me rather than people who protest me, which we don't run into that much problem in Iowa City. There's, it'd be hard to make a list of 10 places you couldn't go in Iowa City. I have trouble finding one or two in my head. So Iowa City is a unique place about like that, but not as unique as they used to be, because more and more places throughout the state and the country are very open. So it's kind of nice.
It is really nice.
And it's on the Piedmont also. Some people, I have forgotten that it's up where the sidewalk is up on the west side of the Piedmont, close to the stores. There are tables up there too. There's one that's down on the Piedmont.
Right. There's down in that sort of main area, and then off to the west a little bit too.
Yeah, mostly we try to keep. We've reserved from the south-north place, the Dubuque Street part that is blocked off. We pretty much set up everything there, and it's pretty linear from the stage, because we always have performers that we have, like the choir that will perform for us, and some other. We try to keep local talent, because there's a lot of great local talent here.
There really are a lot of really amazing bands. We had the experience last January when we had our music fundraiser, and we saw some just absolutely fabulous bands and performers and singers.
Oh yeah.
All local Iowa City people.
And they donated their time, and they played for us for nothing, and helped us raise some money to help provide sound system and everything else for the festival.
And the interesting thing is the choir spelled with a Q.
Yep.
They are spelled with Q.
Q-U-I-R-E. So they're the choirs. They actually have a concert coming up.
Saturday, right?
Yeah, this Saturday.
At 7 p.m.
And it's at Zion?
Yeah, it's at Zion Lutheran Church.
Zion?
Right.
Yes.
They always put on a great show. It's a lot of fun.
And though it's for LGBT people, there are a number of straight people who join simply for the love of singing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Because it's all about the finding people that you enjoy hanging out with and doing activities with them.
Right.
Well, it's about, I think that LGBT people have in the past felt so excluded from so many things that we struggle. I know that we talk about this in the Pride Committee as well. We really want to find ways to be inclusive of people, and that includes people who are allies and people who are
Right.
straight.
Right.
And because, different types of people need different types of allies. I identify myself as a person who's a trans ally, and I try to look out and be concerned about that because that's an important and growing issue, but I'm not trans. But they're definitely a part of the larger organization of sexual minorities and of people with different sort of sexual orientations that, need to be looked out for and need other people catching their backs. So we need our straight allies. They are agents of change, and they're really important for us.
Also, we do have a store in town, the Toolbox, that has some, one of the owner of the Toolbox is actually on our committee, Julia Schaefer, and she is doing a pre-order of pride flags with a stick. And she carries lots of the rainbow merchandise for the queer community in there and other product and stuff. So it's nice to have that support in our community.
Well, I think we've about wrapped up here. I want to mention that the noise in the background is some rebuilding out in front of the senior center.
I'm sure it's going to look fabulous.
An older building has to have some work done every now and then. And so I hope everyone comes to the Pride Run, the Gay Bar Crawl, the Goddess and She performance, the picnic, the Pride Parade, and the festival. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.